Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. Today, it's Friday, May 17th, 2024. I mean, it's a Friday. It's the best day of the week. It means the weekend's about to get here. I'm actually going for a couple of days away with my girlfriend to another part of the country. Well, I say other part of the country. It's like an hour away from you over the weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to the show today because we have a stacked list of topics, don't we? But before we do, let me introduce the panel and let's kick things off with the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
What's going on? Dude, I'm fired up to be here. You know, I'm a huge fan of both wrestling and golf. And this morning, the main debate for me is which one is going to provide more drama today, because the number one player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, was arrested this morning outside of the PGA Championship. But I am excited to talk about the drama on the wrestling side. We got all kinds of stuff, maybe even a hacker report over there to start us off. I don't know, Ben. I'm stoked to get into it. Let's get after it.
Absolutely. And also joining us today, we have the person who's going to be the host of the show tomorrow. We have Shad. How are you, Shad?
Throw them twos up, man. I'm doing great, bro. And yes, if you guys do not have anything else to do tomorrow on a Saturday, come watch the Wrestling Republic Daily because I will be hosting. Ben, enjoy your time away. You know, as I am a married man now, happy wife, happy life. Although you're not married just yet. But, you know, make the lady happy. But, yeah, man, I'm excited. Good over here. And, yeah, let's get into these topics.
Yeah, I'll enjoy my day off, too. Don't worry about me.
I'm sorry. Did y'all hear something? My bad. Somebody must have, like, tried to been – that hacker must have came through.
Get the
that I heard
twos
somebody
up.
else say before. You too, Clark. You enjoy your day, whatever you're doing.
But last but certainly not least, guys, we have a debut all the way from Chicago. We have Tommy. How are you, Tom?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? It's just an honor to be here, man. I'm super stoked to talk wrestling, and you know, Clark and I talked golf earlier, so I'm down to talk anything, man.
Absolutely, it's going to be a fun show. Welcome to Wrestling Republic, and let's have some fun.
Also, we got the big three of bald men on this little
best three bald guys.
Here.
Yes,
So
that's right.
We in here, baby. Let's go.
The BGC, the bald guy crew. Let's go.
My
It'll happen to you at one point, Ben. Don't worry.
Shout out male pattern baldness.
My girlfriend said to me this morning, she goes, I reckon your hair's going to be receding in 10 years. I go, that's a lovely thing to say to somebody first thing in the morning. But anyway.
It's going to be tough to quaff it like that, I'll just say.
But we got numero one Superfly in the chat. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Howdy to you too, numero one. We've also got David Marge in the chat as well, who says this is going to be too sweet. But without further ado, let's get into the show. Now, just in case you guys haven't been on social media in the last 24 hours, yesterday WWE's Twitch channel just randomly went live and just started showing an episode of Raw from years ago. And everyone thought, well, this is a little bit mysterious, isn't it? And then for the next minute or so, just glitches started coming up on the screen. And obviously, they used about 2 minutes long of these glitches. It was enough time for people, who were watching to go onto their phone and to tweet about it to get more traction to the Twitch stream, which was genius from WWE. I want to mention that first off. But then, once it did start going, we got one of those, typical teasers that we've been seeing as of late on WWE television. And we believe it's Uncle Howdy behind those. Well, we've got a lot more reason to believe that now because a poster came up about this missing therapist, and it was the therapist who interviewed The Fiend a few years back, if you remember. And she was in a room. She was interviewing somebody, asking them how they were and all of this. Who were these other people they were talking about? It was all very, very cryptic. It was very interesting, but the amount of Easter eggs they're doing for this storyline, it is fascinating, and I am loving it. The creativity involved. I mean, Clark, I want to get your thoughts on this just first off.
Well, you know me, I only have 3 fears in this world, and one of them is hackers. The others are birds, and we'll get into that later, but hackers scare me to death. I can barely use the internet myself. The last thing I want to have is something glitching out, and then I got to watch a therapy session, unless it's this, because I loved this. This was absolutely delivered perfectly. Really cool, like you said, the kind of guerrilla marketing, you would almost call it, scheme to get people to see the stream, given the glitches and all of that, get people to tune in. It's got to be Uncle Howdy, doesn't it? To have that therapist in there, and it's very cryptic, but I love it. It's fresh and it's new, and it's also, it honors Bray Wyatt in a lot of ways. It's something you would see Bray Wyatt doing. I love it. And this is not usually even my style when it comes to pro wrestling necessarily, but this was executed as well as it could be. I really, really, really am excited for how they debut it on television. That, I hope, is as well vetted and well thought out as this build has been.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great point of perspective, Clark. I mean, it is one of those things where this, it is hard at times to get, these cinematic, these dark characters, to work on WWE television or just television in general for that, for that matter, because of course it's a mix of sports and entertainment, and you don't see this type of stuff in sports. So to make it work, in sports entertainment, you got to do it well. And Bray Wyatt always did. There was issues the first time around with the Uncle Howdy character. We know that it wasn't quite hitting for some people, but it was just so early days of the character. But I'm just hoping this time fans invested in it from the start. And I think based on this internet reaction, they will be. Tommy, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, one thing that the WWE has done really well over the past, 8 to 10 years has been these cinematic videos and what they did with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend and everything that they're doing with Uncle Howdy right now is just it's so good. It's a really good time to touch on, a tragedy with losing Bray Wyatt. So it's a really good opportunity for WWE to capitalize and bring in some more excitement and honor Bray Wyatt the way that he should be honored. And Uncle Howdy is it's going to be great. Now it's just a matter of, following through after all these vignettes and teasers and stuff. So I'm really, really excited to see how they do it, what other people they bring in to join a faction with Uncle Howdy or however it may be. But it's definitely good television. It's good marketing. Like we were talking about, it's just very, very good business right now by the WWE.
Absolutely. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, I also want to very quickly ask you about, when it comes to this character, do you reckon when they do this many teasers, maybe it can just start to drag out? Or do you reckon that this is, the perfect amount for, fans to be excited?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. I think you kind of touched on it. It could easily fizzle out as long as they, don't do it the right way or don't continue to build it. People may forget. I always kind of look back at longer, introductions like Jericho and the Y2J era and how it was just months long of waiting for Jericho. And then boom, it happens. Thankfully, it happened here in Chicago and hot crowd and you got The Rock and everything like that. So it was great, but it's definitely a time and place. Like if they pick out a really good place to debut him and bring him out and do all this stuff, I think it'll be great. But you are definitely flirting with, if I continue to do this for a longer period of time, people are going to get less interested. So it's definitely a matter of when and where they debut. Uncle Howdy will play a big role in this for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no doubt about it. And I mean, a lot of people suggested Backlash in France. Now people are suggesting, King and Queen of the Ring. But I mean, we just don't know. And that's the cool part about it. I think some of these people who, really dug into these videos and really, figured things out, seem to believe that there was some teaser for King and Queen of the Ring. But I think those same people said the same thing about Backlash too. So who knows?
Right.
It's one of the fun parts about this for sure. And also something I forgot to mention. is the episode of Raw, which was shown on Twitch last night, was the episode where the Wyatt family originally debuted, I think, in 2013. So there's a lot of parallels there as well.
Yep.
It is so fun. Sonny Dalton and Sandy is saying he believes it's King Queen of the Ring based on what's been shown, and that's also Bo Dallas's birthday. That is an interesting note.
Interesting.
Indeed. We have Numero One Superfly saying, I hope when they debut Uncle Howdy and his faction, they do not have him go after the World Championship. That is a good point, actually.
Oh, play keep away with that thing that we learned our lesson with the Fiend.
Exactly. Just certain characters need to stay away from titles. And I mean, remember the Undertaker himself, right? Stayed away from the World Championship picture, I think, for 5-6 years at one point in his career, in the 2000s. So you don't need to be in the world title, WWE title picture to be interesting. In fact, sometimes have a separate thing just adds to the product significantly. I mean, Shad, I actually would love to get your perspective on all of this. I mean, how are you feeling about it all?
I think the utilization of every show that they've had, every internet outlet that they had, social media outlet that they have, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, has been brilliant. I think it's a creative, different type of storyline and different brainchild of what Bray Wyatt has, and it's stuff that goes over my head. I'll be honest with you. It's not, it's one of those things where it is very cinematic and it's very outside the box. And I'm not a person that does a lot of puzzles. I don't celebrate Easter, so I don't catch these Easter eggs at all times. But I do read and see the parallels to it, and it is something of interest. The gimmick can go as far as you want it to go if you allow the story to be told in totality, and that is something that I have a little bit more confidence in with Triple H running the helm of it rather the old regime. If you let Bo and all of the people there kind of use this storyline and create it and take it to the extension of what Bray was going to display for us with Uncle Howdy, I think it could be really brilliant and I think it could be really good for it. My fear is that how long can we keep it fresh and have the fans engaged to it, right? Because it is not Bray Wyatt at the end of the day. It is something that's tied to him, but Bo is not Bray. If it's a faction of other wrestlers, they're not, the Wyatt family. It's going to be different, and they have to try to find a happy median in between that and keep fans engaged. And that's where I think the storytelling and how you display the story is very important, because the last thing you want to do is it being like a guy that, I'm a big fan of in the WWE. You don't want it to be like Mr. Snore Time Karrion Kross and his faction, bro. Like, you don't want it to be like his faction where it's just a bathroom break. And I don't think it will be like that, because I think there's more nuance and story to it. I'm interested in it. I think it's going to get an immediate, crowd glued into it at the end of the day as soon as they debut. It's going to be different. But it's, how long we keep it going with stories to be told. I do agree with what Numero One Superfly said. I don't think you need to initially go for the title or world championship. But I'll be honest with you. There's a guy who does have a world heavyweight championship that I think could make a story work, and that is Cody. I think him feuding with Howdy and the Wyatt Six at one point, not out the gate, but at some point could be interesting, because I think Cody can, fall into the cinematic and telling a story within it. So it should be interesting. I'm enjoying it for the time being, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Absolutely. No, you are right, mate. A Howdy and Cody feud would certainly be interesting. We've got Elmer Thomas in the chat. Shout out, saying
Elmer!
7 people in the chat. We need 7 likes right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Elmer,
guys,
the man.
Elmer Thomas is my boy, man.
I love it.
Tuesday night regular, by the way. Salute
and
to
he,
you, homie.
And he held up his word. He told us, he said, you're going to be seeing a lot more of me. And we've seen him on almost every show. I'm
yesterday too, yeah.
If we had a fan of the week, Elmer, man, you're on fire.
Yeah.
Well, as we say in Allison analysis, a subtle round of applause to you, Elmer.
Yes.
But we've also got A comment here from Horatio saying, "Do you think he debuts tonight?" I mean, I
Where is it
don't think
tonight?
so.
Where are they
I
tonight?
never know.
I don't think tonight. I think too early, especially one day
Yeah.
after, because I also think this is obviously we're talking about it right now, but this is going to have to filter through the news cycle for other people to see it and understand what's going on because it's so cryptic. And so to make the debut as impactful as possible, it does need to be stretched a little bit longer. That's at least my own personal opinion.
It's what's tough though. Like I would like to see this debut in front of a crowd in the states, and I don't. There's not a pay per view in the states until SummerSlam, right? Like that's the next one. Like we got
Mhm.
Saudi next weekend, and then we got Clash in Scotland. So it's gonna be interesting. I can see it being at Clash more than Saudi though.
Yeah. No, perhaps so. I mean, it's the thing is when you go to an international show as well, sometimes it's harder to hide because there's a lot more media presence at airports for international shows. It's a lot harder to hide surprises as well. So I mean, like if Bo Dallas is in Saudi Arabia, gets pictured walking in, well, you just know he's going to show up.
We're
Don't
gonna find out.
Right.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they do just do it on a random episode or something. But I mean, I think they need to tease that episode a bit. Like they need to have, that featured in teasers or something. So at least some fans work it out. So there's a bit more hype around it for sure before, we jump into the deep end with that. But talking about jumping into the deep end, I mean, Ricky Starks jumped into the hater end of the swimming pool because he is not too happy about his absence from AEW. He basically said he has no clue why he's off AEW television. Fans online are wildly speculating. These same people who are, figuring out all this Uncle Howdy, decoding all this Uncle Howdy stuff, are also saying, hang on a second. Did you guys notice ever since he dissed Edge in that Collision promo? Well, he's been barely seen since. Is there maybe some heat there? Who knows? It's just speculation, but the
Spear
fact of the
versus
matter,
spear.
I'd love to see that. You see, and I also don't believe Edge. I don't believe Adam Copeland's.
I don't think he's
is
that
doing a
petty at
CM
all.
Punk. Yeah, I really
have a hard time to
don't.
believe that.
Especially historically, he has no problem returning, any real life beef into a work too. So I don't believe it for a second. But what
Ask
I do
Lita.
believe is that, yeah, exactly. I mean, what I do believe, Clark, is he's not on TV right now, and he's a heck of a talent. He should be on TV. Why is he not on TV? I think it's obvious he's going to the WWE. And I think AEW could have had a chance to re-sign him, and I think they've just absolutely dropped the ball. But Clark, I want to get your thoughts.
What do I think or what do I hope?
Either or both.
Okay, so what I think is, I mean, we all know who Ricky Starks' buddy is. Who helped clean out Ty Clip's office? That was Rick Starks. And I believe it was actually QT Marshall as well. They helped him out. We all know about that. That's in the history books. They're buddies. He was very excited in this interview we're talking about WrestleMania. Very excited for his friend. And that lends a lot to the theory that AEW isn't re-signing Ricky Starks and he's likely headed to WWE. That's unfortunately probably what I think. What I hope is this is a work to deliver an Adam Copeland versus Ricky Starks match. That to me would be the best possible outcome for all parties, because I don't know. Ricky Starks' charisma is off the charts. His moveset is great. I don't know how well he fits the WWE. I mean, this is a guy that's like Leo Rush's size. Do we believe he's going to beat? Do we believe he's going to go out and beat half of these? Do we believe Ricky Starks can beat Gunther? Is that something that in the next 2 years we're going to see? He goes over on Gunther.
Sami Zayn beat Gunther.
Sami Zayn is also 3 inches taller and 40 pounds heavier than Ricky Starks. Sami Zayn makes Ricky Starks look like what he is from a size perspective.
It's
a cruiserweight.
a different era now, though.
Ricky's got the charisma, but I'm just saying, I actually think the best place for Ricky is in AEW with the creative freedom, with towing the line also as far as the TVPG TV14 conversation. I think Ricky Stark's charisma lends better to more adult type content compared to, and I'm not saying that the WWE is kiddie, not in any way. I watch the WWE and love it. The WWE is a broader show. It appeals to a broader audience, and that's important. AEW is clearly targeted 18 to 35. And if you're targeting an 18 to 35, Ricky Starks is more likely to get over in that age group, in my eyes, than he is to get over in a younger or an older age group. I can see an older age group being upset about various fashion statements, maybe being a little bit too mouthy. And then the younger one being a little bit confused by how clever some of his mic work is. It isn't right in front of your face. He is a guy that is going to be, a smart aleck, for a lack of a better way to put it. He's going to come up with lines that are more difficult to digest and understand. And I don't know if it lands to an age group that the WWE is trying to market to, on top of the size issue. I think AEW is still the best place for Ricky Starks. And that's why I said, I hope that we're leading towards Spear versus Spear, him and Adam Copeland. That'd be a fun rivalry to have. And on the microphone, those two back and forth with the blinders pulled off. Sign me up.
I mean, the comments do not agree with you. Sonny Dalton and Sandy saying, I can't agree with that. Look at Chad Gable. It doesn't matter as long as you can get over. And I actually
Chad Gable is an Olympic wrestler, and he's also
but
the same height as Ricky and 20 pounds heavier.
But Ricky Starks has something which Chad Gable doesn't. And this is I'm not having to go at Chad Gable. I'm a big Chad Gable guy. But Ricky Starks has aura. And that is something. He just has it. What is it? You can't describe it.
He didn't have to play Shorty G, which he might if he goes to WWE.
Well, he won't, because Vince McMahon's not bucking it anymore, is he? I do agree with you on some things, Clark. I do agree with you. I would have thought, if you showed me this guy, showed me some of his work, showed me, some of his promos, in-ring action even, I would have said he's a better fit for AEW. But he's not been booked like a star there. They've absolutely wasted him. And I do agree, I don't think he'd be a main eventer in WWE. I think he'd be in like a mid-card or upper mid-card guy, right? Maybe he'd have the, odd pay-per-view event once, a pay-per-view main event every 2 years or something. So I agree when it comes to that. But the fact is, he's not getting that in AEW even, is he?
I'm sorry, Shad, by the way, in the private chat, he's got a conspiracy.
He did the same thing about Rio. Man.
Shad tries to claim I don't like Rio. I'm a huge Rio fan.
That man.
I'm a huge Rio fan. All I said is it's hard to believe.
I have one thing to rebuttal your point, bro. Y'all, so it's not about the body thing. I don't agree with you on that personally. I don't think that matters. As long as you're a great professional wrestler, sports entertainer, at the end of the day, crowd, fans will get behind you. And I think he has all the ability to do that. We say that MJF can make the jump to WWE.
MJF's over 200 pounds.
What does that have to? So that's the main reason he could work. When you're talking solely about what he says on the mic and how he cuts promos, MJF is way more controversial in regards to what he says on the mic. But everyone is like, oh, he'd be a fit like a shoe-in the WWE. Ricky Starks is a lot more tame with his promo work. He's a lot more quick-witted. I think he's better on the mic than MJF.
Whoa.
And I think he's better on the mic. Come on, he got edge in his feelings. Because
that wasn't even hardly on air.
Edge was, he sunned him. Christian should be talking to him because that's Edge's daddy. Ricky Starks is his pops.
Okay, by the way, I actually love this, and that goes back to why I hope that he stays with AEW.
No, I don't disagree. I'm not saying your point of that is wrong, but your reasons to say why he wouldn't. I think he could work anywhere. He's that darn good.
I don't want to limit him at all.
Give me Ricky Starks versus Trick Williams for the NXT champion.
In NXT, would be good. He'd be sorted. He'd be fine in NXT. Sonny Dalton and Sandy is mentioning in the chat Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio. I mean, Clark, what's your rebuttal to that?
Rey Mysterio is an all-time great, and now you're putting me in a position where I have to knock Rey Mysterio. But there's a reason that Rey Mysterio got thrown by a lawn dart against a production truck by Kevin Nash in the late 90s. It took Rey Mysterio an entire career to overcome the size part of it. And don't get me wrong, the Lucha Libre history, the mask, everything, winning the Rumble, amazing. His accomplishments, he's a Hall of Famer, an absolute trailblazer. Who was the next Rey Mysterio? We've been talking about that for 20 years. There's only one. That's an outlier. And I don't like doing math. I've now been forced to do math. And he's a statistical outlier in a great way. He's a no doubt Hall of Famer. But there's only one.
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan is
Kofi Kingston. There's a lot of guys
way
who are
bigger.
not super
Way
big
bigger.
dudes.
These guys are way bigger.
Well,
I don't
we've
even
got
know
a
if it's
few
a
comments.
size thing.
It's not just
Sorry,
the
but-
size.
Right.
Go
No,
ahead.
I don't think it's a size thing. I think it's a style of work type of thing. Both Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever you may be, their styles are different than Ricky Stark's. And I agree with you, Clark, that I don't think that he would benefit from the jump to WWE. I don't think that the audience there cares enough about him to know his work, whereas AEW fans are more niche wrestler fans, care more about his work, his promo work, everything like that to want him. He's not a big name. It's not the era of NXT where you bring in the Sami Zayns, the Kevin Owens, and then build them up. It's totally different now. So I really don't think it's a necessarily about his size or anything like that. I just don't think that he'd get over, but I don't think it would be in the time that he'd want to make
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
That's actually a great show and a great perspective.
and that's a
And
fair point. But to say he wouldn't work there because of his size is asinine. I don't care about the point of him staying in AEW. You saying he can't work of his size is asinine.
It's
That's
not
all.
just because of the size. It's his body type against the WWE roster is different than it is against the AEW.
I know
roster.
what it is. I know what it is. Right? He hangs out with a guy who wears a tight clip. That's why Clark
It's
doesn't like him.
that's the body type thing. It
But-
frames the body poorly, Shad. That's where I was going the whole time.
But Sonny Dalton and Sandy says, this debate right here, this discourse is why Wrestling Republic is the best content creator show in the world. Thank you so much, Sonny Dalton and Sandy. We really, really appreciate that. We've got Elmer Thomas saying Tony don't want him. His CM Punk statement was too strong. And Numero One Superfly says Ricky Stark should be on TV feuding with Chris Jericho. Not
Stealing
Big
back
Bill.
Big Bill.
Oh, stealing back
learning
Big Bill.
tree.
Oh,
Yeah, I actually like that idea. That's kind of fun.
that's great.
I like that too.
That's great.
And Jericho Starks could be fun. But guys, something which is also fun is Next Level. Now, if you guys don't know who Next Level are, let me break it down for you. They put all our social media links all in one place. And that place is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, all linked in one place. Plus, in case that wasn't enough, there's also exclusive content. And just in case that isn't enough as well, if you click the link, you scroll down to the bottom, there's a giveaway you can enter. You just need to follow the rules, and you can potentially win a $100 WWE shop voucher. Free to enter. There's nothing, there's no catch here, guys. It's completely free. Just click the link and do what it says to do. It's as simple as that. But if you guys were watching the show earlier in the week, we were talking about the King and Queen of the Ring. Me and Clark gave our predictions. In case you didn't see them, here they are. For SmackDown tonight, we basically thought that Io Sky, Jade Cargill would both go through, and then Tama Tonga and Randy Orton too. So me and Clark actually agreed
You
on.
copied
absolutely-
me.
Definitely I copied you, Clark. But right now, it's not about me and Clark because I want to get Shad and Tommy in here because I want to get their opinions on what's going on. Guys, take it away.
All righty. Well, I didn't give my predictions on Raw. They already passed. So we'll go straight to SmackDown tonight. And I'm a gentleman. I say we do ladies first. We got two big time matches tonight, man. And I'm super excited for both of them. Both members of the current WWE Women's Tag Champs are on the docket. Let's start with the first one with a woman who is very controversial here at Wrestling Republic in regards to if you like her and you don't like her. Miss Jade Cargill versus
Team
the
Jade.
force that is Nia Jax. I'm gonna let you go first. Who you got winning this one?
I don't see how it's not Jade. Like the way that they're building her, the way that they're pushing her, it has to be Jade. I have slowly started to enjoy the uber heel Nia Jax. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm thinking, but it's every time she's on, it's funny. It's good entertainment because she is such a jerk in that sense. You know what I mean? Like she's like that, and I dig it. So I don't see how Jade does not go over in this match, honestly.
Yeah, I am going to agree with you on that. Um, Nia Jax is doing phenomenal heel work. I think she's a superb competitor to go against. She's a threat with her size and her looking as strong as she has been since she's returned. A lot of people can argue she's probably been one of the better, re-signings of the people who got let go and returning back. She's done a lot better. But I'm going with Jay Cargill. This is a match kind of like her last match that she had with Piper Niven. It's going to be a bigger, I won't say stronger, but bigger sized opponent that looks like a tall task, but she is the one that is enforcing and can get past it. I got Jade Cargill. The second one, you put me in a rock and a hard place with this one, Ben. We got, a person that I am, a Tiffany Stratton truther, versus a woman that I say is arguably one of my favorite women's wrestlers of all time, in Bianca Belair.
She's
And
up there.
man, oh man, this one is tough because I think you can make a strong case for either women winning. Oh, man, you know, I with the heel work that Tiffany Stratton has been putting in, and it being a situation where I don't think we're gonna burn Jade versus Bianca this early into it, especially them being tag team champions, even though that is a marquee match to have in Saudi with those two. I'm gonna go with Tiffany Stratton winning with heel tactics tonight and being the victor, leading to a Jade versus Tiffany Stratton match next. And that match
Yeah,
would not happen in Saudi, by the way. Sorry, I apologize. That would be the semifinals. But yeah, regardless.
yeah. I going into today, I was all about it's gonna be Bianca. It's gonna be Bianca versus Jade, and they're gonna start that feud already. But just like you mentioned, I think it's too early. I think that it's too early to turn one of them. I would assume it'd probably be Bianca just because Jade is so hot right now. But I think heel Jade would be awesome because that's just who she is, it seems like. But I would agree with you. I think that Stratton gets the over here because of heel tactics, and I think it goes down to Jade defending Bianca's honor in that type of thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if they start to pull the trigger on Bianca versus Jade because I think that that's a primetime matchup. I think that that's probably a SummerSlam, event there, but I could see them kind of starting to start the
Plant the
ship a little
seeds.
early. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would agree with you. It's probably Stratton. Wouldn't surprise me if it's Bianca, though. I think that they could start that feud now and it'd be a slow burn to SummerSlam, and I wouldn't hate it. But yeah, I would agree with you.
for sure. All right, men's side, we got two banger matches too, and we got one with a man that I'm a big fan of. Obviously, I do off the air review with Clark and Drizzy. Him, Carmelo Hayes going against Randy Orton. Carmelo Hayes has been on a crazy run of matches since he has came over to SmackDown, by the way. Got a match with Cody, he gets Randy, had a match with Corbin as well. So this is gonna be a good one, man. And I think this is gonna be a losing effort where Carmelo Hayes will look strong, but ultimately I do have Randy Orton winning and advancing. What about you?
Agree, 100%. I don't think that you're putting Carmelo Hayes over Randy Orton just yet. I think that Randy is still Randy, and Randy is still one of the goats, and he deserves a little bit more. So I definitely think that as good of work as Hayes is doing right now, I think Randy is still Randy, and I think that he gets the over here in this matchup. But I do think Carmelo like fights his butt off and comes out really good at the end of it for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And then the last match, which is it's a tough one for me because you have one of the most over superstars in the WWE at the moment in LA Knight, and you have the new addition, the new member of this revived bloodline in Tama Tonga. I'm gonna kick it to you first. Who do you have winning this one?
I think it's Tama Tonga. I don't think that you bring him in and then he gets squashed by LA Knight or anybody else. I think that he is the new enforcer, whatever Solo Siaka wants to call him. It is Tama Tonga. And as a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling and the original Bullet Club, like I could not be happier to see Tama Tonga in this spotlight. It is much deserved. I honestly think that they're probably building towards a Tama Tonga J finals and having something crazy go down there, some shenanigans. But I feel like they've done LA Knight dirty over the past couple of months. You know, he's kind of fizzled out a little bit. He's still hot and he's still popular, but I don't see how you can't put Tama Tonga over LA Knight in this situation because you're building towards, you know, essentially a bloodline versus bloodline feud down the road. And this would be a good start to it. But I mean, I love Tama Tonga. I love everything that he does. I think he's so great. I'm so mad that they didn't get the DMX music to come over to with him to WWE. It is, you know, God's theme is up there with one of my favorites of all time. So I go Tama Tonga here for sure.
For sure. I'm gonna agree with you to a lot of that points. As much as I would love to see King LA Knight, because I think that'd be money
awesome.
television. I think he'd knock it out the park with that. I do think it's gonna be Tama Tonga. Like I mentioned, he's the new guy, and I think the story between him and Randy Orton has already been planted, you know, with that whole thing. And I think we need a payoff to that. So I think it would make sense for Tama Tonga to win. So it looks like, guys, we are agreeing with y'all with the picks. Even though it feels harder to predict these than expected.
Everyone's just in agreement. Apart from we're still the Instagram chat still talking, Clark, about what you said about Ricky Starks. He's also 6 foot, by the way. People are saying
listed at 6 foot as a guy that stood next to him, and I'm definitively 5'11". I go to the doctor a couple times a year. 6 foot's six foot's a skosh of a reach.
For anybody that's basketball fans, Bronny James is not 6'4". He's 6'1" on a good day. So, you know,
on a great day. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, like listed at and true height are two different statistics.
Cheers Boys in on Instagram is saying that he liked your takes, Tommy. And yeah, I mean, everybody's agreeing with you as well that, you know, Ricky Starks, people are agreeing about the Ricky Starks AEW thing, just not the if he went to WWE the size thing. So, but anyway, guys, let's now move on to something which I'm sure we can all agree on, definitely. Who is the MVP of the Ruthless Aggression era? Who, you know, was the best star from that era? Why are we talking about it? Well, our latest Instagram tournament, which started today, is to crown who the fans believe the best star from the Ruthless Aggression era was. The first poll between John Cena and RVD is up on Instagram now. But right now, this second, I actually want to talk about who was the best star from that era in our personal opinions. Tommy, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think was the best star from the Ruthless Aggression era?
There's so many great guys on this list, so many awesome people that I remember fondly from back then. I mean, it's coming off of an era that was so great, obviously, with the Attitude Era and everything like that. I am a big fan of RVD in this time. I, however, voted for Cena on our poll just because how can you not? You know, I mean, it's John Cena, but I'm a huge fan of RVD. I think he did phenomenal work here. Got him paid at TNA, got him paid back at WWE. It set the groundwork. I think JBL has to be mentioned in this as well, just because this was the John Bradshaw Layfield era. Pretty much, he rolls up in his limousine. He is the ultimate heel in this. I think that JBL, RVD, Kurt Angle was unbelievable at this time too. I find it hard to pick one just because all three and all 16 are just phenomenal during this time period. But if I had to go with anybody, the people that I remember wearing the big belt back in the day, Triple H, you know, JBL, I think JBL is probably the number one person in this Ruthless Aggression era. Obviously, people remember and think of John Cena because of his great promo against Angle when he debuted, Ruthless Aggression, start of it, everything. But JBL did the bulk of his singles work during this era, and it made him, solidified him as a Hall of Famer. And I think it has to be JBL. I think that JBL just killed it during this time. And as much as I want to go with RVD, putting him against Cena in the first round, just you can't go against it. So I would say JBL is my MVP during the Ruthless Aggression era. Close second, John Cena, I guess.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, those are two great, options. I mean, that's the thing. There are so many great stars from this era, and JBL's basically his entire career, like when he was notable, was this era. John Cena got, his kickstart in this era, and then there's obviously Triple H who was on top for the entire thing, pretty much. It's just crazy. There's so many great options, but Shad, I want to get you up next. Who is for you the MVP of the Ruthless Aggression era?
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like a lot of people are going to say John Cena from all that he has achieved. That's early Ruthless Aggression. John Cena was my favorite iteration of John Cena when he was rapping and insulting people and all that. I thought that was the best part of him. But my personal favorite wrestler from the Ruthless Aggression era was Mr. I lie, I cheat, and I steal. Eddie Guerrero. He was doing some of his best work during the Ruthless Aggression when he came over to WWE. The feuds with Chavo, teaming with Chavo, feuds with those we don't speak of anymore, feuds of Rey Mysterio. I thought he did elite work. Brock Lesnar. Eddie was a character. He was a person that was also great as a babyface. And he had so many championship moments at the end of the day and WrestleMania moments. So if I had to pick someone for me, it would be Eddie Guerrero.
That is such a solid choice.
Sublime pick, Shad.
So
I mean, for me, he's got to be up there as well because Eddie Guerrero, I mean, like as a kid, when I went back to watch some of the old stuff, he was like the first old wrestler who whooped from when I wasn't a child that I went back to go and watch. And I fell in love with his attire, his entire vibe, his persona. It was just so good. Numero one Superfly mentions a name who isn't in the tournament in CM Punk. I mean, we couldn't justify putting him in the 16 because he just didn't do quite enough.
He was in ROH a lot of that time during the part of it, yeah.
And then ECW
Not
as
yet,
well.
yeah.
Like it was just before
ECW, and then what is the era after Ruthless Aggression? PG era? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He was
he
was
more
the parental guidance era.
He was more prevalent in the PG era to me.
He absolutely was. We got Soul in the chat at the beach with a drink. Have a good one, lads. I hope you're having a great time on the beach on this hot day, Soul, in the UK. Because it's a rarity. Enjoy them while we have them. But Clark, last but certainly not least, I want to get your thoughts. Ruthless Aggression era. Who was that MVP? And was it MVP?
So I'm going to say this. I have an answer of somebody who's in the tournament, in the bracket, but there's somebody who's not in the bracket that I have to say because of who's Ruthless Aggression's MVP. The answer is not a wrestler, and you can never call me a body shamer because it's one of the worst bodies in the history of pro wrestling, but it's the wise man, Paul Heyman, for introducing the SmackDown 6. What he did with the SmackDown 6 completely changed the Ruthless Aggression era, and he deserves full credit for that. It's some of the best creative work we've ever seen. It's the highlight of that era in my eyes. What happened with the SmackDown 6? Now, my answer is a member of the SmackDown 6, and that is Mr. We spoke of him earlier, Adam Copeland Edge, the Rated R Superstar. And it's interesting, there's a comment, and obviously I'm not hosting right now, but if I have permission, Elmer Thomas, good friend of the show, commented, not that one. That's not the one I wanted. Where was it? It's right here.
Great comment there, Elmer.
That one was good too, but this is the one I wanted to read. JBL is a rare one. Ain't too many that can translate from tag to singles. That's how I felt about Edge at the time of the start of the SmackDown 6. What we saw by the end of the Ruthless Aggression era with the Rated R Superstar and the way he carried that Money in the Bank briefcase, the way that the Matt Hardy rivalry went down, the way he became a legitimate on a billboard, main eventer, not just Hall of Famer, not just the TLC contributions, not just the tag team contributions, the way he was able to elevate himself amongst other stars. There's arguments for Cena. There's arguments for Batista. Heck, there's arguments for Triple H. There's arguments for a lot of stars during this time. But Edge's ascension to me was not only the greatest, but he also overcame the tag team wrestler stigma in a way that he could not in a hair versus hair match against Kurt Angle merely a few years back. He could not do so with the "you think you know me," right? You give him Metalingus and a Money in the Bank briefcase during this time, and that's when Edge became Edge. And I don't think I'm the only one that thought this. Christian's work with the Un-Americans after the ENC breakup, as well as the, Christian, now you're on your own, right? Like, sorry, I can't sing, but now you're on your own. Like a lot of Christian looked great during that time, and Christian's a Hall of Famer too. But Edge's ascension during that era is underrated. It truly is.
Fair enough.
He was almost the perfect heel.
Yeah, he really, really has been. I mean, I've been saying it all along in AEW. He is, one of the best heels in the business. He's been a heel his entire AEW run. Of course, we know Christian Cage was the babyface during that feud. Yeah, all that stuff, guys. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen the show before, you probably won't get that. But we have Matt Williams saying Carlito snubbed.
He spits in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Brock Lesnar is someone who definitely needs to get a little bit of.
He's in the bracket,
right?
But he was only there for that year and a half. That's why. Because honestly, Shad, I thought about Brock, but it was. I look back at it; it's only 18 months.
His early impact kind of like set off a lot of the early part of the route. He was on Here Comes the Pain, bro.
Who's doing it? Box jump at 6'4", 290.
Right.
The F5 in the Shark, guys. That just image, I think, is like just one of the best images in professional wrestling too. But guys, that basically wraps up the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. We've had a lot of viewers today. We appreciate every single one of you. Please like, subscribe wherever you are watching. We're back here same time tomorrow, same place. Shad is going to be hosting the show, and it's going to be a banger. No doubt about it. We will see you guys then. Thanks, Clark. Thanks to Tommy on his debut episode, and thank you to Shad as well. We will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.